Ever come across a blue healer and thought, is this thing worth keeping? I mean, I know it can herd my sheep, but is it going to be any help in Empires and Puzzles? This is the video for you. I'm going to run through all the best blue healers. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. For anyone who's watched the previous healer series, we know we start off with the 4-star bangers, except unfortunately there's not enough good blue 4-star healers, so it's just 4-star banger. We can see a little Grumble and a little Azmia hiding away here, but Azmia barely heals. She's decent, and Grumble heals over time. It does get reset when he takes damage, but it's just not enough. So the only 4-star banger worth talking about is our good beer-drinking mate, Kiryl. More specifically, Toon Kiryl. Look, once you've got his costume, you've got some bonus stats, but the Toon is where it's at. Or glass. We can see there it's 32% heal. That is on the glass. I think the Toon is like 31. I don't know why it's different, but anyway. Depending on the costume, he gives attack up, defense up. He can do attack down, defense down. But just a fantastic hero. The Toon obviously has the resist, and the glass has reflect, so you can use him everywhere. Buff boost is a good one. Just an absolute fantastic 4-star. Once you get those costumes, he gets extremely strong with the stats, as we know, the Toons. So, yeah, my mate, I mean, look at him. He's kind of a cool-looking dude as well. So, that's all I'm going to say about the 4-stars. But in a pinch, you could use him, depending on your level, especially if you've got a legendary troop. You could use him in your 5-star teams at a pinch if you are missing any of the other good 5-star blue healers. Greetings, loyal minions, traitorous fiends, friends, haters, beautiful humans. As we usually do, we are moving on to the honourable mentions. It's actually really interesting when you're making these types of videos because you do a bit of a deep dive on all the different healers, and it's interesting to see the difference between the different colours. So yellow had a heap of really top-level healers. Some of the other colours not so much. Blue was interesting because blue has a lot of pretty good older heroes, but because of the age and they're just not quite good enough to make the top tier. But there's a lot of solid heroes that I don't even give honourable mentions to. Melina, previous one available in Fated Summons, can do some nice things. Costume Passepartout, and even Esme, who's also available via the Fated Summons, have great uses, but are just a little bit old, don't make the honourable mentions. Without further ado, let's move into those honourable mentions. First up, we're looking at some revivers, the heal and revive. We have Sable, very new Fox hero. Some people love her. I am not sold on her, but at very fast, she has a 100% chance to revive. However, it is only one person, but it can be fantastic. Heals 300 HP per turn, so it's quite small on the healing. Lowers healing with the passive, so it has some fantastic skill, very worthwhile, and that revive can be fantastic. Revive can just be great in a lot of different places. I keep going back to the hard events, the treasure quest, things that people struggle with in the game, even just certain map stages. Having a reviver can be absolutely amazing to bring your team back and basically start again. So on the other side, we have Lysanor, who is slow. I do like Lysanor, and I just realised I've had a typo in her name. We'll blame the bloody cat for that. Where's the quality control, Psycatsis? Come on. That is Lysanor. She's slow, but she gives attack up, 60% chance to revive, which is huge. She does boost 250 per turn, which is quite good, but very low at slow to be only boosting that much. But that revive is a huge chance. So if you're into the heal and revive, you like doing a bit of mouth-to-mouth CPR, bringing people back from the dead. Look, you could be a necromancer, whatever it may be. Sable and Lysanor, right up your alley. Who doesn't love a bit of twin action when there's some mana involved? Costume Ariel is seen as a really good healer. The costume version does give the mana, so it's very, very useful. And it's interesting because I do use Costume Ariel quite often, but that boost is quite small at 5 at 20. She does cleanse, at the end of her turn, and she does give the mana, so extremely useful. It's a little bit of mana each turn. Very, very useful in getting your heroes charged. So I often take her as an off color, and she just helps charge those heroes. So fantastic. But I'm not sure why she gets all the love over costume Ano, or even Ano General. The stats are a little bit higher with the costume, a little bit higher than Ariel. And she's basically doing a very similar thing. So it's 45% heal, which is a lot more. Priority cleanse, which is fantastic. Now, she doesn't actually give you mana, so it is a slightly different sort of thing. But she's doing minus 20% mana gen, I believe, on the costume. I think it's 24 on the normal, but the heal is a little bit low. So that's still fantastic. It slows the enemies down. It can be, a lot of people love getting mana, but slowing the enemy team down is basically the same. It gives you extra moves to get the mana you need. So both fantastic. Pick whichever one you prefer. Give them both some loving first, and then pick the one you prefer, I guess, would be how to do it. And a couple of others I thought were worth giving a mention to. They just fall into the slightly random category. Sawano and Ninja, probably never talked about anywhere, but has ninja speed. Gotta love that ninja speed. Gives you the versatility. The heal is quite low, especially at that lower level. I believe it might be 30% for the middle level. Apologies if that's wrong, but it does give extra health when the enemy casts their special turns. Cleanses for a few as well, so quite useful. A lot of people don't like the ninja speed. I think it's quite useful, but as I said, at the very fast speed, it is a very low heal, so you do need to try and charge Sawano up a little more. And of course, who doesn't love an owl? Everyone loves the owls. Mario's looks like the little librarian owl that, you know, she's nice and quiet, but packs a punch when she unleashes, no doubt. Once she gets drunk and takes those glasses off. Anyway, I don't even know if she's wearing glasses. It probably just looks like that. 700 boost, so a decent boost, but just not quite up there with those really big healers with the percentage. Gives a protection ward, so it gives you extra defense or extra sort of protection against the specials, which keeps you alive longer, and also cleanses. So the cleanse and dispels are fantastic. Some of the some of the some of the better blue healers don't have those skills, but they are, just better in other ways. Comes down to what you need. If you're going up against things where you need a cleanse or a dispel, obviously pick a healer that has a cleanse or dispel. I've said it before, I'll say it again in these lists. All of these heroes are quite fantastic in their own right, in the right scenarios. The list is just a way of trying to give you an idea of which ones are going to perform better over a longer period of time or over a far greater scenarios. There we go. Let's move on. Welcome back to the SciShow, the number one ranked YouTube channel for people with Smurf fetishes. If that's you, I appreciate you. It's no surprise, number 5, Mooncure. It's been on the screen for a little while, so you already knew. What can I say about Mooncure? Huge 55% heal. So we're talking healers. What's the main thing we want them to do? Everyone loves a healer that does this, does that, but you need them to bloody heal. So 55%. It's bonus mana when enemies cast their special. Also steals some healing from the enemy team and does a great attack down of, I believe, minus 40% for attack for 5 turns. So again, people want healers to do extra things. Sometimes we undervalue those things. So minus 40% attack is bloody huge. If you think you've just healed yourself, you've got full health back because it's a big 55% heal, then every enemy hit is doing less damage to you. I've actually come up against Mooncure in wars and totally underestimated them. Now, I will say it is slow. So we can see on the right there, best in Rush War. But events, PvE, war with another mana booster. So if you've got, even if you're pairing with Ariel, as I mentioned earlier, it's giving that mana boost. If you're the type that wants a double heal or a small boost and a heal, Ariel would be great just to then give that extra mana, get Moon Cure charged up, and give you the big heal on top of the boost. So yes, that's where I would be using. Again, depending on your level, you could throw it into your war team as a tank generally. Being slow can take some hits and get its heal off and then hamper the enemy team with the attack down. That is my take on Moon Cure. Not doing very well keeping the suspense going here, am I? Because they're popping straight up on the screen. Yeah, I think the cat's going to need to take a bit of a graphics course and up her game a little bit. Number 4, costume Thalassa, whatever you want to call it. She looks a little strange. Weird half mermaid thing happening. I won't say what I was going to say. Fast speed with the first charge. So it's a fast boost. I believe it is a boost of, with the costume, it's 500 on the first and then 800 on the second. So on that second one, the 800 is quite good, but the first one is fast. You're giving yourself the ailment protection, and there's a huge bonus immune to insanity. So clearly, any events, boosted health is fantastic, and immunity to that ailment. Sorry, not immunity, but ailment protection. So using events, Insanity War is an absolute no-brainer, as she's straight up immune to insanity. We all love insanity. Well, some people do. I actually enjoy it. So I use Costume Thalassa in the Insanity War every single time, generally. And obviously against versus. Oh my god, sorry, it's been another long day. Versus heavy ailment teams. She will keep you protected. And she comes in at number 4. Number 3, Nautica. Look, you can tell by how much text is on the screen. It has a lot going on. Looks like it's lifting its leg up and kind of, I'm not into toilet humour, but it kind of does look like that's farting out all the information. I apologise, that is horrendous. 45% at average speed is a very good heal. Gives 33% mana boost to nearby. Also a 40% mana boost to those nearby. And along with 50% crit. And also on top of that, what we forget a lot is the healing core. So once that is fully charged, that's another nice boost on top of what we're already getting. So I actually love the repair cores when it comes to healers, because if you get the heal, it then does the extra boost on top. So fantastic hero, great for speeding up those heroes around. Was probably a meta tank for a little while, I would say. Didn't last a long time, but again, depending on the level of war you're playing at, would still make a great tank, can speed everyone up, and it just gets very, very annoying. So always in events, any healers are good in events. Anything with boost, especially anything speeding yourself up. So again, war tank, pair with slow hitters. You don't have to. You can pair with fast hitters. It's still going to do a great job in speeding them up and getting that damage in. As always, I will say, if you enjoy what I'm putting out, please consider gently caressing the subscribe button. It's moving along fantastically well. I really do appreciate your support. Appreciate you all, but let's keep this thing growing. And I will attempt to be including everyone in any spoils that come my way. I will mention now, we are looking at getting the codes. I know I've said it for a while. They should be very, very close to being completed, hoping early next week. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you've got that notification bell on so you're watching my videos. They will be a limited number. I'm hoping to try to get enough that everyone gets something, but they will be limited. So, yeah, keep your eye out. And as I said, just hoping to share whatever we can with all of you beautiful people. Moving into the top 2, I would love to know who you think will be in the top 2. Drop me a comment. Let me know. Let me know if you agree. Look, I love these lists. It's basically just done as a way to be slightly controversial. I like to throw in some curveballs, get people talking. I love hearing everyone's thoughts. So drum roll on to number 2. Number 2, it's everyone's favourite healing Goblin Grimsteel. Possibly could have been number one on any given day, but I wanted to share the love and let someone else have the number one spot. So a huge 54% heal gives 450 attack and defense with the growth mechanism, which is permanent, so that's fantastic. 30% mana gen for all. If that gets removed, it throws on 10% mana, so we all love mana. Also have the awesome passive of giving that minus 25% or 25% blind, minus 25% accuracy, that should be, to the enemy, which is underrated. It goes off a lot and can really be a pain in the buttocks. Being slow, we're going to throw it in Rush War tournaments. Titan, Mythic Titan, it's fantastic for that growth. Can have a huge impact on those Titan scores in Mythic Titan. So if you're not using it on your Titan and have it, especially if you're using items to charge it up, and events, map stages, etc., etc. As I said, it could have been number one, but it's not. It has been seen, even still sometimes, as war tank, so definitely use it in your wars, but being slow, again, I mean, it's not a huge drama at times. If you get a bad board, can still be extremely difficult, and probably why it should be number one. It was in the meta for quite some time, but I'm being slightly different. You know, hate me for it if you want. That's okay. There could be a bit of discussion about who's number one. We might start a little, which side are you on? Anyway, we will now move on to number one, as number two is Grimsteel. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the number one blue healer of everything of all time is Bluey. Yeah, sorry. That was like the lamest thing I've ever done, but I couldn't resist. So let's move on to the real number one. And today's number one, Costume Hetefres. I don't even know. Again, Grimsteel is probably seen as the better out of the two, but I just felt like being different, basically. No, fantastic hero, very underrated, I believe. With the costume, the stats are quite good, just probably a touch below Grimsteel overall, but not far. Gives the huge 54% heal, so the same heal as Grimsteel, however, it is at average speed, so that's an absolute big advantage. Minus 45% accuracy, which again is extremely underrated, just makes you miss so often. If you have the costume for the bonus, you can still use the original version. It's a little bit less accuracy and a little bit less heal, but does give a bit of extra defense versus a nature. I don't believe that's important because people can bring other colors against you. So I personally would use the costume, but it does, the costume gives 64% defense versus green as well, which again just means that it lasts longer. If you're using it as a tank, it can still be used as a tank. Again, it's not the best hero now, but depending on your level, it's very tough to kill once it goes off because it does do a huge heal and gives that accuracy, which just means your heroes are missing everything. Sounds like me on the golf course today. Bloody left and right. I can just never put it in the middle. Struggle to find the hole, as they say. Also has passive 10% boost. So with the costume, it has that guaranteed effect of the 10% boost, which is also quite fantastic on top of the heal. Cleanses the latest ailment with that passive as well. And we can see there, we just use it everywhere. Even the Aether talent works in well. It gives an extra heal. So if you're using it in events and treasure quest, etc., each different wave, you get 6 turns to get a heal off. And it's, I believe, a plus 50%. So absolute fantastic hero. Very underrated. If you have it, make sure you level it, make sure you use it, and heal all those blues away. There we go. That is the final in my series of healer videos. Keep an eye out. I'm really excited about my next video. If you're still watching, thank you. I do appreciate you watching all the way through. My next video is going to be a big information session on summoning. I'm going to have I've had a little bit of fun with what I've done so far. So it's going to be really interesting from my point of view. Hope you've enjoyed this one. I appreciate you all. Drop me a comment if you would like to see any specific type of series next. I'm not a huge list fan, which is why I try to keep my lists very specific as opposed to the best blue heroes of all time. I just don't think they add much value because you're comparing totally different. There's no point of comparing an attacker with a healer, in my opinion. Yes, it can be a bit of fun, but yeah, let me know if there's anything specific you want to see, and I will keep that in mind. Drop me a comment. Remember to gently caress the subscribe button if you haven't already. Give your kitty a scritch for me, and have a bloody good one.